Yeah, what's your name and who are you?
My name is Cayli.
And how long have you lived at Eastwind?
I've been here for 7 years, so just over 7 years.
And what initially brought you to Eastwind? How do you hear about Eastwind? And why'd you decide to come out here?
I originally came out when I was 20, and at the time before coming here, I was kind of just trying to figure out what to do. I feel like you turn 18, you get out of school, and all of a sudden, I was just supposed to know what I was gonna do, and felt a lot of pressure. And I didn't have any money to go to school with, and I'd been watching my mom and sister struggle with their school debt forever, and that just didn't seem like something I wanted to deal with, really. And so I was just kind of working, trying to figure out. When I was 15, me and my mom got like the wolfing catalog, and we went and wolfed in New Mexico for a summer. And so like that was like an eye-opening experience, and so I knew that there were other things going on, people were doing things out there, and I finally was just like fed up of not really moving forward out there, kind of just doing day to day, making minimum wage and not accomplishing anything. And so I decided to just quit my job and try it out. My mom knew about Eastwind from buying the Nut Butters and the Nat Geo article, and she actually told me about it. And so I looked into it and decided that it was definitely worth the shot.
And so you came here and visited. What appealed to you most at that time? What made you want to become a member?
I think just the biggest part was the people, really, just being around so many wonderful people. I quickly made a lot of friends. I quickly just fell right into loving the communal aspect of everything here, and sharing everything, and work parties, out in the garden. You have like 9 people working together on these projects. It's like one of the best feelings. It's really fun. You're like talking to people. You're accomplishing things for yourselves, for each other, like at the same time. It was just a great feeling. And I knew like right away that even if Eastwind isn't like the end all, just community in general really was the answer, and I loved it for sure.
And so you've lived here 7 years. In those years, what have you seen change here? How have things changed in that 7 years?
Let's see. I think there's been a really solid group of people here for a while. Like in between like 10 to 3 years, we've had a lot of people stick around, and it seems like that's maybe somewhat of a thing that Eastwind hasn't had in a while, where people, like solid core groups of like younger people who are actually putting time in and actually staying here for 3+ years. And I feel like that, like once you start to develop those connections and live with those people for 4 or more years, like it definitely creates like a closeness, and it's something that just like develops with time. You get to know people really well. That's been somewhat of a change I've been seeing. I guess just how people are sticking around and are in it for the long haul, which has been really cool. Eastwind, from what I've been told, I think Eastwind's kind of been transitioning for a really long time, since probably like, sounds like about the mid-2000s, with kind of becoming more agriculture based, like more people coming who are actually interested in the agriculture aspect and are actually staying around long enough to implement ideas and like create projects and start these bigger gears turning as far as our gardens and our ranch and our dairy programs are concerned, which is awesome. And I guess I've definitely slowly been witnessing that over the years getting stronger, for sure. More people coming who are super interested in agriculture and just trying to take it to newer levels, which has been really awesome. From what I've been told, Eastwind was maybe slightly more industrious back in like the 2000s and the 90s, and Nut Butters was a big focus, with not so much emphasis put on really expanding the agriculture and like doing the newest things that people are doing, as far as with just like doing the bare minimum is what it sounded like. And it's definitely not that way now. Got some cool people who are really doing great and trying new things, and we're figuring out what works for us, and it's really awesome. It's really fun in the middle of like just being a part of that.
And how, you've seen these processes change and you've been a part of them. How have you changed in the 7 years you've been here? That's like, that's a good chunk of your life. That's serious development stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What have you seen that you like? What have you learned about living with people?
A big lesson coming here, kind of, being 20 when I first came, and like, honestly, a big lesson was that people are people, like everywhere you go, and a lot of, you come here maybe with, it's easy to imagine that this place is, just this utopian, like, paradise where all of the pain is healed, and like no one comes here with baggage, but it's just like everyone who comes here brings their baggage with them, like that doesn't just erase going out, it doesn't just go out the door when you come here. So we work with that every day. Everyone is working with that with each other, and that's a huge part about community too, is the ability to do that and work on yourself and work with the people around you and giving them space to work on themselves and space and growth, and allowing yourself space to grow. That's one thing I've learned, and it's been great getting to do that. I feel like before coming here I wasn't able to do a lot of that because I feel like it's more isolated, and maybe that was just my experience. I felt way more isolated, and so I wasn't able to have these I feel like I've developed social tools over the years of being here, for interacting with other people, and for even like my inner thought process has changed with that. It's just like constantly developing, the more people you meet. One of the things is, I feel like when I first came here I was super introverted and like more expressive and really excited about meeting new people. And over the 7 years, after watching a lot of people leave, even though there are still a lot of the same core members here for me that like have been here with me for 7 years or close to that, like you still watch a lot of people go, and eventually I've definitely found myself over the years like kind of going into a shell more and being a little more reserved with newer people. Sometimes it can take a while for me to even introduce myself to visitors, and sometimes it's not so bad. But that's one thing I feel like I've noticed, is become slightly more reserved and not so outlandishly silly. But what else have I learned? Learned a lot about dairy cows and pigs, and learned a lot of just things, farm-based ideas that coming here I didn't intend to, or I just didn't think I would get involved in a ranch program, and then that was where work was needed the most, so I plugged in, and I've got to learn a lot about that, and I've loved every minute of it, and it's definitely things I would love to continue to explore, even outside of Eastwind, seeing what other people are doing, or even working with people on smaller projects and helping people get their goat program started, or whatever they're trying to do. That's one thing I'm really glad I've taken away from being here.
What do you appreciate most about living here? About membership here?
I really appreciate guess the amount of space that I have to just like create my own world, really, you know. And one thing you realize really quickly when you get here is there's just so much to do, right? Eastman has a lot to offer. There's a lot of skilled people with knowledge here. Like, you can come here and if you put your mind to it, you can learn a lot of skills. And so then you're really confronted with, like, okay, like, what am I really about? Like, here I am with all of these things at my fingertips, and it can be overwhelming. And I feel like it really puts things in perspective in that way of, like, it's really on you to, like, take control and grab something by the reins and do it. And that's one thing that I've taken away from being here. And, like, one thing that I love about being here is, like, you're constantly confronted with yourself and constantly having to work through things with the people you live with. And yeah, it's not easy sometimes, but
that decision of, like, what am I doing, or what am I working towards here, especially when there's so many choices,
right,
of how you can plug in.
Yeah. Something about that is just, it's like super scary, but it's also awesome. Like, that's something I've grappled with over the years of being here. And I'm not doing, you know, I could be pushing myself harder and learning more, developing, you know, new skills. And sometimes, you know, I'll just ebb through seasons and, like, kind of just take it easy and mellow. And I love that I have the freedom to do that, you know. Sometimes it's just nice to, you know, help it, like, get in where, you know, like, accomplishing things that you feel very comfortable with, and kind of just taking it easy if you need to. And then at other times, you know, when you're feeling it, like, being able to really take on newer things that you're excited about, you know, as far as the various things there are to learn here. Whenever you're ready, it's pretty much there waiting for you. And it's like, almost any job here is gonna be like what you decide to make it, you know. So you could do the bare minimum and, you know, get by and accomplish things, or you could, like, really push the limits and try new things, you know. Once you come here and you kind of become a trusted member, and people really, they'll let you take over areas and really apply yourself and learn things. And it's really cool. It's interesting to watch other people do it too, other people who come in really excited about just doing things they've always wanted to do, you know, and then watching them experiment and trial and error. And it's really cool. That's a great part. It's a cool thing.
What don't you like about living here? What are some of the challenges?
Sometimes one of the challenges is not getting like completely submerged in, like, this east wind bubble that's created. You know, I feel like we live way out here in the boonies. You know, the closest town is like a population of 700 people, and that's the county seat for the county we're in. And so it's definitely easy to just, you'll be on the farm for months at a time without ever leaving this property, you know. And it's just so easy to just get caught up in this bubble and just forget about the rest of the world, really, and forget that there are things going on. So you really have to stay active, I feel like, in not slipping into that, because I've done it before, and all of a sudden I catch myself, like, becoming extremely frustrated about these, like, very, like, minute things, like, in my mind. Like, afterwards I'm just like, wow, why would I even get stressed out or worked up about that? Just like these simple small interactions with people. Or sometimes, you know, we live here together, we clean up after each other, and sometimes you get just like really small things that you just lose perspective on, and it becomes your entire world. And then all of a sudden you're just like, you find yourself in the middle of these, like, conflicts with people and all of this, like, weird energy in your home, and you're like, with people that you see every day. You know, you don't not get to see them. You know, and so every day you're confronted sometimes with personalities that you don't like, but it's okay. You know, it's also just like not getting caught up and so kind of hell-bent on it. It's good to take breaks occasionally and get off the farm, even if it's just to go to there are like smaller communities around. Going to them, like any amount of time off the farm, it can be really helpful. It has been for me. Like I've gone home before for just a couple weeks and visited family and just feel exhausted at the end of it, and just don't have the mental capacity to like deal with the rat race anymore, with billboards and advertisements and like everything just vying for your attention at one time, and then like, coming back out to the woods and it's peaceful and it's quiet and I'm like around people that I jive with. It feels great. So that's definitely one of the challenges. It's just not getting too, I guess I don't know how to put it, just the East Wind bubble. Sweet.
Thank you, Cayli.
Yeah, thanks. Come to East Wind.